Just been aware for the last few days that there's a tropical low forming. Working on this information, also we use predict wind, and that's a pretty good visual of wind speed and direction. So that's also showing that this low or tropical cyclone is going to come through right across the North Island at this stage. But these things, there's uncertainty of the actual path until nearer the time, but it's pretty clear that we're going to be heavily affected by the cyclone.
I wanna be on the water, glide on blue sea. Feel the wind blowing, fly like a bird, be set free. Will you take my hand and protect the land? Surf on the breeze with me, yeah. Take Tāiko, 3 years of climbing. Take Tāiko, come rain or shining. Take Tāiko, drift in the orange sun. Take Tāiko, is the only one.
In the last 15 months since moving on board Tāiko full-time, we have spent many days either hiding from strong winds and adverse weather or sailing in it. There's been so many adverse weather events that we haven't filmed all of them. One of the reasons the weather has been so challenging for us is because New Zealand was in what is called a triple dip La Nina, which means the La Nina was now in its third year. This is pretty rare, with the last recording of a triple dip La Nina being in 2002. What this meant for us was, in a country that has predictably unpredictable weather, was now unpredictable, with strong easterlies now dominating instead of our usual westerly winds. The change in wind strength and direction also brought with it a lot of moisture, so not only did we have a lot of strong wind, but a lot of rain too. This has meant that it has been a very challenging year for us. We've experienced up to 60 knot gusts in an anchorage and up to 50 plus knots in the marina. However, the summer of 2022 and 2023 proved to be particularly challenging, with lots of rain and wind, which saw Northland and Auckland being placed in states of emergency. However, what we didn't realise during this time is that we were just experiencing what would be the tip of the iceberg. The worst was still to come. 2 weeks before Cyclone Gabrielle came, we had just gone through a squash zone between a high and low pressure system, followed by an atmospheric river of moist tropical air, which caused flooding in Northland and Auckland. We had just made it through these two systems when we sailed to Paradise Bay, and it was here that Adam saw the possible risk of a cyclone forming, so we had to make some decisions. We knew this was going to be a tough time for us, but never did we realise how much devastation Cyclone Gabrielle was going to cause along the east coast of New Zealand, including our hometown of Hawke's Bay. We wanted to share with you our experience of Cyclone Gabrielle, but also wanted to take this opportunity to acknowledge and send aroha to those who have been severely impacted by Cyclone Gabrielle.
It's Wednesday the 8th of February, and just been aware for the last few days that there's a tropical low forming, and it's potentially, it's heading towards a cyclone status. So tropical lows formed just south of the Solomon Islands up towards the equator, and all the predictions are showing that it's going to track down and go through the North Island of New Zealand where we are. So that's an issue for us. We've been out on anchor for the last month or so, and we are needing to now change what we're doing, and while we've been through quite a few storms, we've decided to go into the marina a bit earlier because of this. So we're just going to document what happens each day as this tropical cyclone comes through, and you can just see what it means for us with our floating lifestyle. So it's hard to believe, because right now and the last few days have just been absolutely beautifully calm, very summer-like, 25-26 degrees, and we've just been in this beautiful anchorage, Opanga Cove in the Bay of Islands. But yeah, we're going to sail off tomorrow morning and just get a bit closer to the marina. We'll stay at Russell off the at anchor off Russell, and then the next day, which is Friday, we will berth at the Bay of Islands marina where we'll sit out the cyclone. So let's see how this pans out. So the New Zealand Met Service does a pretty good job of informing us about tropical cyclones. They have a tropical cyclone bulletin on their website, and it describes any current cyclone activity and gives details of possible cyclone development over the next 5 days in the Coral Sea and in the South Pacific area of between Australia and 120 degrees west. So it's really relevant. So we've been checking up on this regularly. At the moment, what it's saying is a tropical depression. They haven't named it yet. It's U14U was the little code they've given it. Was analysed just south of the Solomon Islands on Tuesday morning. System's moving slowly westward and is intensifying. The environment remains very favourable, hence the risk of the system developing into a tropical cyclone in the Coral Sea increasing to high from Wednesday. So the risk of tropical cyclone is high today. So that's that, and we'll just keep checking on this information. Also, we use Predict Wind, and that's a pretty good visual of wind speed and direction. So that's also showing that this low or tropical cyclone is going to come through right across the North Island at this stage. But these things, there's uncertainty of the actual path until nearer the time, but it's pretty clear that we're going to be heavily affected by the cyclone. So yep, let's see how this goes.
So this is the day before Cyclone Gabrielle arrives. We're almost finished preparing. Stripped everything off, but Adam will go through that later. So you can probably hear the wind through the rigging. It's the day before the Cyclone Gabrielle or Gabriella is supposed to arrive. And I think we've had a few squalls coming through, and yeah, we've had up to 41 knots so far of gusts. We're just in the mode now of getting the boat ready. We've stripped everything off the outside. We're just rather be safe than sorry. We're treating it seriously because the weather reporters are treating it seriously, so we're treating this seriously. We're back in the marina, and yeah, we spent all of yesterday stripping down the boat, the exterior of the boat, the decks, clearing everything to reduce any chance of windage. It looks a bit sad really. The boat looks like a bit neglected, and inside's a mess. This is our mainsail sitting here. We didn't take the battens out, but it's stowed away. Our head sail, bimini, our head sail and our dodger are here. But yeah, it's a real mess at the moment, and this is just how it's going to have to be until Gabrielle leaves us. So you know, we're expecting the worst but hoping for the best. And like I say, we're just preparing, better safe than sorry. You know, they say you regret the things you don't do rather than things you did do. Well, might not be true in all cases, but anyway, rather we do take it seriously and strip down the boat than getting the so-called getting the reports that they say we're going to get and we didn't strip the boat down. So yeah, it's just a mess, and it's just how we're going to have to live with it. So we're almost there, and then Adam will take you through the boat, what it looks like stripped down, and you can hear the wind, so it's coming.
So it's Saturday the 11th of February, just after midday, and it's been pretty much a day and a half of getting the boat ready, just reducing the windage and stowing everything away. So I'll just go around the boat and show you what we've been up to. So I'll start up at the bow. Yeah, so we've doubled up all our lines, which is a pretty normal thing to do, and we're using these rubber snubbers, so it provides a bit of extra elasticity onto our mooring lines, and they seem pretty good. I've just backed up the anchor here, and we took out the head sail. So there's actually no sail on this, this is just the furling frill. So that's a precaution to ensure that there is no sail to come undone if the wind gets into it. Yeah, so we've got spring lines, chain protection. Yeah, zip tie on, right on for chain protection, and the main sail's off too. So you can just see there's the bare boom and the bare mast. The halyards, it's the Jenica halyard, the green one. This is a spinnaker halyard, so we've just attached them out of the way. We can tighten those up actually. Deflated our tender and lashed it down really securely to the mast and to the grab rails. Also means we can open up our hatch in the saloon, which is nice, get a bit of ventilation under the shelter of that. You can see here there's another one of our snubber devices, and we've got 3 spring lines. There's a spring line going forward to the bow, there's one coming back to the main sheet winch on the coaming, and there's one from midships going back to a cleat on the dock. So they're doing a bit of work at the moment. Where we are located, we're in a marina berth obviously, but there's a mooring field out there, and there's a break in the wall. There's an entrance way essentially, so we're just getting a little bit of wave energy coming in at the moment. Nothing too much, but it's just a little bit of energy bouncing us up and down. So back in towards the cockpit, we've taken our dodger off, which is the bit that normally sits here. This does, it's normally a protection from wind and rain, but the idea here is to reduce the windage as much as possible. So that's what we've done there, and likewise our dodger, which is that blue thing over there, it's normally like a little roof for a cockpit, but we've taken that off and we've lashed it down pretty thoroughly with this yellow line. So that's that. So you can see the cockpit's looking pretty bare. Normally we have weather cloths around the lifelines which provide shelter, so they've come off all around, and yeah, so pretty low windage. It's currently between 30 and 40 knots. It's just sitting on 30 at the moment. Just coming in off our starboard bow. Yeah, okay, so it's just after midday on Sunday, and the cyclones, we're feeling it now, definitely. The wind's probably been 30 to 50 knots pretty consistently, so we've been rocking around. I mean, we're fortunate to be in a marina berth, but even still we've been rocking around and heeling over. So yeah, there's been pretty heavy rain, and it looks like we'll probably be in this state for a couple of days until Tuesday. It's currently easterly, and it's going to clock around through the southern quarters and into the west on Tuesday as the system passes further towards the east of New Zealand. So yeah, we'll just stay positive and stick with it for now. Not much we can do. Just looking at the latest update from the Met Service, they say that based on the position and intensity of Gabrielle, this system poses a very high risk of extreme, impactful and unprecedented weather over many regions of the North Island from Sunday to Tuesday. So today's Sunday, we'll see how we go. So what have we got? We've got average of 37 knots, max 56. It's almost 1 PM. Water level's pretty high, just coming up to high tide. And there's not much of these poles sticking out, but I've just noticed the pontoons are higher than the car park, so never seen that before. And the ramp is probably facing down. Right, you know, usually you walk up the ramp, but right now I think you'd be walking level or probably a little bit downhill. Yeah, it's a downhill run. Downhill run. Freeboard there.
When your life's been put on hold for far too long, when the sorrow and despair is growing strong, there is always something good to be obtained from breaking loose and leave the things that kept you chained. So when you find the strength to really shed your skin, all you really need to do is search within.
So it's 5th of March 2023, and a little while ago New Zealand was hit by Cyclone Gabrielle, and we've come back down to an area that was our home before we moved away. We've still got family here. We've come down to see our family, but we've also taken an opportunity to have a look at what the cyclone's left behind in terms of damage. And we've just come out today to a place called Awatoto, which is at the very bottom of several very large river catchments. And what we've seen is actually pretty devastating. There's just, railway lines missing, there's wood debris piled up, there's all sorts of incredible damage. We've also been talking to people as well, and you can see there's a lot of sadness and even some anger from people. I guess there's also some positive comments and an impetus to rebuild following this as well. So it's quite an emotional thing to witness, and I guess we went through 3 days of storm blowing and rain, and I guess at the time we thought that was pretty extreme, but it's another level of experience to come to an area where there's sort of caravans and trees and houses have been written off. People are in full-on sort of recovery mode from a major disaster here, so it's I'm pleased we came to see it, but it is quite hard to see. You can see behind me, it's actually all around me, is wood debris. A lot of this comes from forestry land use, also some from farmland, and this is a major problem because it gets washed up against bridges, and there have been a number of road bridges and rail bridges just completely demolished and washed out to sea. Over here there's a fertiliser factory which was flooded and is not operating. Just over here there's a major commercial compost operation which was flooded out, and I presume compost washed out to sea. There have been some loss of lives, I believe, and a lot of loss of animals and farming infrastructure and fencing. A major loss of the soil resource with erosion, which has caused havoc on floodplains with buildings being buried. So yeah, it's just been an incredible event. and it's pretty clear that it's going to take many years to recover from in these very acutely affected areas. It's kind of surreal because you can take a drive 10 minutes from here and things look normal. So it's just very unfortunate circumstances have led in some cases to severe destruction, and other places have come through okay. So yeah, it's been pretty tough in some areas.
Visiting our family and friends in our hometown of Hawke's Bay and hearing their stories of Cyclone Gabrielle was sobering, and alongside this, seeing the damage that Cyclone Gabrielle caused to Hawke's Bay and the east coast of New Zealand was quite difficult. We have very fond memories of our lives here and had visited many of the wetlands and areas that were destroyed. However, with all our travels and the people that we have been fortunate enough to meet along the way, we are always inspired by not only people's but also the environment's resilience and determination to recover and survive. We've definitely seen that with the people who've shared their stories, and we are seeing nature just carrying on as she does. We were fortunate enough to do a road trip around the east coast of the North Island in July 2022. With all the places we visited, the east coast is still one of our favourite places to see, and we wish we had spent more time here. Its natural beauty and its people are unmatched. Although we did film our trip around the East Coast, we never shared it with you, but would like to share some of our footage with you now as a tribute to the beautiful East Coast of New Zealand. As always, from the crew of Tāiko, thank you for watching.
Things are what they are. Come rain or come shine or a shooting star. I've been to the south, I've been to the north, east and the west, the middle of course. I may have been astray, but I've never been lost, never been beat by the road I've crossed. I guess I've been lucky to some degree, for someone who ate all the fruit from the tree. Stars been aligned and my goose hanging high. I'll be okay in the sweet by and by. I was born at morning on the first day of June, 1900 and something and two. My mom was a sweetheart, my father was too. They left me a watch and an old pair of shoes. I guess I've been lucky to some degree, for someone who ate all the fruit from the tree. Stars been aligned and my goose hanging